The once crowded field of hopefuls vying to become Oklahoma's newest U.S. representative has been whittled down to 7. By the end of the month, only 5 candidates will still be in the race, 3 of them independents. In this Oklahoma Votes report, we look at the 4 contenders in the primary runoff for the state's 5th District congressional seat.
A leader who will show up and stand up.
So finally, someone will represent your interests.
Right now, our economy is struggling, and we need to have steady leaders.
We can solve our problems and give Americans a reason to dream again.
The contest for the 5th Congressional District is one of the few statewide races that features runoffs for both Republicans and Democrats. On the Republican side, former State Senator Steve Russell squares off against Corporation Commissioner Patrice Douglas. Russell's campaign stresses his long military career for giving him the leadership qualities he believes are needed for Congress.
I've led American soldiers through some very tough times and came home and met a payroll. We can solve our problems and give Americans a reason to dream again, but it's going to take a change of guard in Washington.
Russell believes foreign policy will be key for whoever goes to Washington and says he has the background that best fits that role.
I've lived abroad in many different countries and on a couple of different continents. I served my country 21 years in uniform. I was an exchange student to Germany in high school. I speak a foreign language. We need combat veterans in Congress.
On the domestic front, Russell points to the $17 trillion federal deficit and says the federal government must get control of its spending.
We would love to help everybody and do everything, but we can't do that as a government. So we should provide for the common defense, and we should take care of the things that are the core functions of government. And the things that are not, cut them back.
Patrice Douglas also cites her leadership qualities, emphasizing her past experience as a banker and a former mayor of the city of Edmond.
I led a city during a time of recession, and we came out as the #1 city in which to raise a family. And I think that's so important to Oklahomans. We want a great place to raise our families.
Douglas also cited the federal deficit as a key issue facing Congress and says she would reduce spending by targeting fraud and waste.
I've seen it at the FCC level, a program called Lifeline, where it's expanded and expanded and expanded to the point where we have a very fraudulent and abused system. And in Oklahoma, we're really trying to rein that in.
We need a leader who will fight against government waste. As commissioner, Patrice Douglas went after the wasteful Obama phone scheme and stopped $26 million in fraud.
OU political science professor Keith Gaddy says Douglas' effort to tie the Lifeline program to President Obama is not surprising.
This is her effort to push back against the Obama administration. Any Republican candidate running, at the end of the day, is running against the President of the United States.
On the Democratic side, the race features State Senator Al McCaffrey against retired college professor Tom Guild. McCaffrey argues the economy should be the top priority of Oklahoma's congressional representatives.
Middle class is declining, and we haven't had money brought back for middle class jobs in many, many years. And I think that's something we have to work for.
Guild also cites the economy as a major issue and says he would like to spur growth by increasing the national minimum wage.
No one can live on $7.25, and certainly no one can raise a family of 2 or more on $7.25. So I favor raising it over a 3-year period to at least $10.10.
Gaddy says for Democrats, the biggest issue may be getting voters to the polls.
Voters have forgotten about this election, really on both sides, unless they're getting contacted. And there's not a lot of money in this primary. No money, no contact, no mobilization. A relatively small number of voters will decide who wins this nomination on the Democratic side.
Voters will make their decision August 26th.